Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. I wanted to answer some of the questions that you guys had after my first repair test video regarding, well, this specific tractor here. Might be a slightly different color configuration or something along those lines, but regardless of that, this is very similar to the test that I ran in the past, so I wanted to do a little bit of talking about a couple of different kind of frequently asked questions. I have 7 questions that you guys kind of asked or were the most commonly asked questions in the comments, so I wanted to answer those here. So the first one is, does economic difficulty affect the repair cost? So if we go into our menu here, we can go down to, and this is what I'm referring to, economic difficulty hard. There's also normal and easy. So I think that it's a good question because theoretically speaking, well, it would be more difficult of a game if on hard you had to pay more for repair costs. However, I can put that myth to rest. The repair cost remains the same as it would on every difficulty level. So how much you pay for repair costs and how quickly things get damaged is all the same across the board. So just be aware of that. And that's actually our second question is, does the economic difficulty affect the speed at which damage occurs? And no, it does not. So again, if you have economic difficulty on hard, your vehicles would get damaged at the same rate as they would on easy or normal. And yeah, it doesn't affect the amount you're going to pay for the repairs. So that's just a couple of questions answered there. Continuing on, does the workload to the tractor specifically, the tractor is what we're focusing on, affect the damage speed? So what that means is if I am using this tractor to work on a field, to drive to, the shop or drive around versus just having it sit here and run, does that affect how quickly it gets damaged and the amount of damage to it? And the answer is kind of surprising. It is no. So whether or not I'm sitting in this tractor just running for an hour, or I'm driving it for an hour, or I'm doing hard field work for an hour, it will not affect the rate at which it gets damaged and the damage that is done to it. So the tractor driving, working, or just running and sitting still with you in it will get the same amount of damage. Now, continuing from that one, does the workload to the implement affect the damage? And this is actually kind of interesting. So yes, it does. So if you are sitting in this tractor with it running with that implement attached to the back and not doing anything, even if it's lowered, I tried it lowered and raised, even if that implement is lowered as if it was going to do work, the implement will remain at 100%. So what I did essentially is I had this tractor all at 100%. Everything here is at 100%. But when I lowered that implement, it did not get damaged if I wasn't moving. So basically your tractor will get damaged if you sit in it with it running. However, if you're not moving around or doing any work, well, your implement will be fine. So your implement's not going to take any damage. So kind of interesting there. I like that one. Finally, well, not finally, I guess I should say we have several more questions. We're going to answer a couple more to look at. The next question, does the dirt or wear affect the rate of damage? So what we're kind of looking at there is if your tractor is really dirty or if it's really worn, because if you know from the game, we can take a look at it actually here. Well, actually, no, I can't. I got to hop in here. There are a couple different factors to look at if I get into the tractor here. So we have a dirt, which is, if I set that to 100%, that's the tractor looking really dirty. That's the dirt there. So I'm going to set that back down to 0. We also have the wear, which this is the wear at 0%. You can see there's no paint chips. Everything looks pristine. But then if I set it to, well, 100%, you can see there's actually not much. You can see a little bit of wear around some of those components there versus this is actually really good. You can see all this wear here. Now, if I set this back to 0, you can see all that wear disappear. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Now, wear, just to be aware, for you guys just to be aware, if I go in here, that is, well, you can't see it in here. The repair option is going to fix the condition. You can see the paint condition here. That's the wear. You have to go to the store to get that repaired, and that's the repainting option that's available to you. So what we're looking at here is, does the amount of dirt or wear affect the rate of damage? No. So a tractor completely dirty or completely worn will be damaged at the same rate as one that is pristine comparatively. So basically those two things are only going to affect the cosmetic look of the tractor, the wear and the dirt. So just be aware of that. Very interesting there. So next question, moving on from there, does being inside or outside a stationary tractor affect the damage? So I did an experiment where I had the tractor running. So what I did is I got in it, I turned it on just like that. And then I hopped out and I stood right here and I waited 20 minutes and saw if there was any damage to it. And it was kind of interesting. So this does actually affect it. If you are outside of it, it's not going to get damaged. This thing will not get damaged. Now, obviously, if you have a worker driving it or running it, it's going to get damaged because it's doing work with someone in it, technically speaking. But this tractor can sit here and run all night. It will burn through gas. However, it will not accrue any damage by sitting here and simply running without you in it, which is, I thought, really, really interesting. So Just something to be aware of. Now, the last question that I have that I want to answer, if you guys have more, let me know. I'm happy to answer more questions. The last question I have is, will older vehicles be damaged faster? So I did a test with this vehicle when it was brand new, and then also when it had, well, right now it has, if we go in the store, 48 months on it. So this is what I'm looking at here. I'm not looking at the hours. The hours will be the same effect. So if you watch my first video, I recommend watching that first. So if you know from my first video, the more hours that are on it, up to a certain point actually, it will get damaged a little bit faster with more hours on it. So we know that the increasing in hours up to about 50 hours is where we saw it kind of top out. If you have 50 more hours, it doesn't increase anymore, but from 0 to 50 hours, it'll slowly increase, and it'll get damaged faster with more hours on it. However, we were taking a look at specifically the time scale here. So I did it with this at 0 months, and at 48 months, and I can tell you that that does not have any effect on how fast this will get damaged. So if this is 48 months old, 10 years old, 100 years old, it will not get damaged any faster comparatively to a brand new tractor. So damage doesn't have a lot of stuff that actually affects the tractor itself or how it gets damaged. And these are some things that I didn't know. I would have assumed, for one, that the tractor would continue to get damaged if it's sitting here running without you in it, but apparently that's not the case. So anyhow, guys, those are kind of just 7 questions I wanted to just get answer for you guys, and I hope this was useful for you guys as well. Yeah, hopefully this is a little bit useful for you guys. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel, and turn your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys so much for coming and for watching.